Hey, welcome back to Engineer's Workshop. Today was an interesting day. Went from 32 degrees in the morning to probably 65 this afternoon. So froze my butt off at work and able to work without a jacket here in the early evening. So got to finish up putting together the base for the Peerless Power Hacksaw. You get to see the old late 1800s Barnes drill in action. That should be fun. Got a mag-based drill also to core out the 1-inch hole in those base pieces. So I'll fill in, I've got some little odds and ends to take care of. Got to hang a hoist up in the outdoor area to help unload things off of trailers. I think I'm going to replace the switch in the K&T, the spindle switch. I got one that is a center off with that over center protection feature, so that's pretty cool. And hey, you just got to watch Keith Rucker do his, so you get to watch me do mine as well. Anyway, let's get to the action and I'll be back with you in a bit. This drill has a locating point that goes in through the bit and lets you find your center mark, and then just telescopes up out of the way as you drill. Kind of a nice feature. This thing actually drills really fast. You heard the magnet click off. Did I click it off? There we go. Clean entrance, clean exit. Now that hole is just for the plug welding of the pivot. This is the front plate. So I've got 3/4 inch holes at the corners and correct. Thinking they're 11/16 for the 3/4 16 attaching screws at this location. It's always fun to fire up the old Barnes drill press. Just going to spot these holes, start a little pilot, and then switch over to the final size. This thing's pretty capable of just plunging a 3/4 inch bit right through the work. For the finished hole, I will of course clamp this down. Okay, this will be the biggest hole I've drilled with Barnes. It's 3/4 inch. I've gotten close to this, but the outer two corners are the sockets for the coupling nuts. Let me show you those. This bit mics out at 748. I've got these at about 755. So let's hope this drill's a little bit oversized, and these should press in. And my son can tack those in place.
right at the limit of what this old drill will do with the belts set up as tight as I have. Yeah, beautiful. It's just starting to go in. So I think that'll press in and be a nice fit for the tack weld there. Proper tap drill size for 3/4 16 is 11/16, which I don't have. I do, however, have a bunch of 21/32. One of them has a turned down shank, which will fit that chuck. So what I think I'm going to do, rather than wait for a 11/16 bit, which from McMaster will only take a day, but it's also 50 bucks, I'm going to put this in, drill 21/32 for the remaining 4 holes, then go back over to the K&T, and I'll orbit those holes out the remaining 32nd of an inch to be the proper size for the tap drill. So this is a little smaller than the ones I just drilled, so this should be easier. Long as that turn down shank holds up. This bit has not drilled many holes, from what I can tell. It's kind of nice. I don't know if you can see this, but I can get at the table elevating mechanism from either side. Make sure I'm in the center of my table. The table doesn't need any more pecker marks on it than it already has. So I'm back over at the K&T. I visually centered up on the 21/32 hole with the spindle zeroed, which was easy because a 5/8 cutter, there's really not much daylight visible around here. And then it's a simple matter of dialing in a tiny offset, just a 32nd of an inch offset. And when I orbit that, this hole becomes 11/16. We'll do one, we'll verify the measurements, and then move on to the other three. So I should be cutting when I plunge down through. I increased the speed of the orbit because we're orbiting such a tiny hole. So 11/16 is 0.6875. Let's check that with calipers. .682. That's 680. We could go just a hair bigger. .6845. That is close enough. Dial in my 33 thousandths. So I've got my brackets painted, and it's Rust-Oleum, so it's typical. It's going to take 3 days to dry, but this all works as intended. I've got the long 5/8 bolts, which will act as the actual feet for the saw when it's not being rolled around, and I just turn the underside of the bolts down below the root of the threads so that as they dig into the concrete, I could still unscrew them if I have to. So at this point, all I have to do is grease the wheels. I've got some grease here. My dad used to work for Sears, so everything he owned was Sears premium grease. There are no grease fittings on these rollers, so you just got to kind of have to pack the rollers full. And then hope it gets distributed through use. Tiny bit on the leading edge. Did not want that to fall. This is for the steering arm that my son is still working on. So we'll just put that together for now. My son did a good job keeping these aligned. I did have to pass a 3/4 inch drill through them, but they were laser cut and they had a little discontinuity where the laser started and stopped, and you know, the shoulder bolts wouldn't go through even the one plate by itself. It should be good for something that's going to roll maybe 50 feet over the next 50 years. So I am happy with that. Pretty good that I can turn it by hand. Time to put up hoist number 2. This is a Yale 1-ton. I'm going to loop a short length of, this is 5/16 transport chain around this beam, create a loop. Oh, you're kidding me. This crescent wrench is like a 32nd of an inch too small to get on that hex nut. Hoping I have the strength to pull this up and pull the entire strap through. Because it's getting heavier. This hand chain is so long it's still hitting the ground. Wonder how tall the ceiling was for the trolley this thing was hanging from. Well, we now have a 1-ton hoist with a super long chain for unloading trailers and stuff that is out in the porch area here. Easy to back a trailer or the pickup truck under this to offload something up to 1 ton. So the 1-ton hoist is hung with very, very, very long chains. You can see the hand chain actually drags on the ground, so I put it into a bucket. And the lift chain, I'm coming all the way down to the ground, and I've got it slung over and hooked over
to the wall. So to try to get this thing cleaned up, I put some kerosene in the bucket, and I've been rotating this thing through, getting the chain wet, letting it drip down, getting all the grime and grit off the chain, and I'm going to lubricate it. Probably going to have to take about 2.5 or 3 feet off of it so that it doesn't drag on the ground.
Foiled by more crap in the floor. Now you get the gist of how this works. Bring down the jacking screws. I'll probably make some little washers with some sockets in them to put under there, and then the nose wheel is off the ground. So temporary storage once again for the Peerless Power Hacksaw, shoehorned in between the Partner 4 CNC mill and the Cincinnati No. 2 cutter grinder. You can see this is the identical switch. Well, for right now, I'm gonna have to take what I can get. Something is different about this switch because in the off position, it's over to the right. If I toggle to the center, I get correct rotation. But if I go over to the left, and I don't want to do that with it running, that reverses the cutter. So not exactly sure what's happening, but I may have to put the little crossed wires on the back side, which we're feeding the left and right to each other in order to get this thing to operate as a standard, single pole double throw. It looks identical to this, and I've got it wired up identical to this. But now that I have the spare, I can start my spindle, and that's the correct rotation for milling. So I'm just going to leave it for now. I believe I'll dig into the potting here because this is screwed together, and I will take this apart and see if I can fix this one mechanically. What this one does is it works over to the right, it goes back to center, but I cannot get it to throw in that direction, which was the direction that I have to mill in. So I'm going to take this one apart, see what is making it not tick, and leave that alone for now, because I believe I can still control my mill in the reverse direction with my dongle. Yep, that still works. So I have control in both directions, but for now I don't have to reach across the machine in order to just turn it on and off for conventional milling. I'm seeing contact in this corner, along this face edge, in that corner.
We got the packing nut loose, and that goes in there against the packing. That is nickel plated brass. This is nickel plated. This is a drip tray that goes underneath that, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's a depression in the center and a tube. So this actually takes oil drippings that come out beyond the packing and funnel them back into the machine base. You can see that little hole down there. This is actually up about like that, and so that little overflow tube returns the oil drippings into the machine base to be cleaned and recycled. Pretty neat. Well, hope you enjoyed that. Got the saw tucked away over here with the other equipment, waiting for its turn to be fixed up. I got a broken piece on the feed mechanism on that Peerless Power Hacksaw I got to take care of. Glad I got the hoist hung up. We've got a means to unload now out there. Glad I've got the switch installed. Been pecking away at the Skinner steam engine a little bit, showing signs of I got the packing nut loosened up for the actuators, the slide valve actuator, and that looks like that's chrome plated or nickel plated brass, and the ball swivel joint looks like it's also a nickel plated item, so it'd be neat to see that stuff when it's cleaned up. The packing is still really tight, so I've got to get that worked loose and get that piece actually off the steam chest, and I don't want to disturb the length because that is correct for the actuation of the slide valve. Best I can tell, it looks like it's timed about perfectly, so I want to be very careful how I disassemble that. So thank you again for watching here at Engineers Workshop. Share with your buddies, like and subscribe if you're not, help grow the channel. And we'll be back to you next week with more progress on the, got to work on the Walker Turner, excuse me, not Walker Turner, the Rockwell radial arm saw. Started making a handle extension for that for the quill clamp. Got to clean up the actual quill itself from the weld repair on the K&T. So a bunch of stuff to do coming up to you next week. Thanks again for watching an Engineers Workshop. And as always, until next time, stay safe.